Oh, sky. I don't know if you can hear that rumble. It looks like my day of trying to work out here has been shot. I don't know how much I can do. I'm going to try to pull out some wood from the yurt and see if I can't cut them and make the bridge at least. I'm trying to run my power tools, my power saw out here and cut the board to size and get the bridge built. I don't even think I can do much with the roofing because all the fronds will be all wet. And I can't really assemble them into poles while they're wet. It won't work. But I just wanted to point out that there's not much material available out here. It's mostly the fronds, and that's why the yurt was built from the fronds. They're plentiful in Florida, off these palm trees. And you can see there's really not any trees, although you can have like these kind of bushes, which have sort of branches, but you can see they're not very straight and they're kind of flimsy. The only things that look like straight beams are these fronds. But what I was saying earlier was that if you take these two and you put them together, like the flat side here to the flat side there, then you have almost a round beam. And that makes it a little bit stronger. And then if you put a third piece over the seam and maybe in a fourth one over the other seam, then it might actually be halfway strong. But otherwise, there's not really much building materials out here. Now, these wood could be used if you have the time and energy to cut them all down and stuff. And I think if I were having to live out here, I might actually use the wood because I think it is stronger than the fronds. But you can see they're not very straight. And you'd have to cut every single one of them down. Could be used, though, to maybe build a hut. I don't know about building a yurt, but maybe a hut with them. And somebody had said I should weave all these fronds together. I would do that if it was, you know, something that I was going to do where I was trying to live out here. But for just this practice of this test to see what could be done, I'm not going to bother doing that. I don't want to be out here, you know. I'm not out here like night and day. And the yurt itself is just being built as a temporary shelter and as a test to see what could be done, especially with limited resources and time. You got to realize the whole structure was put up. If I had been working on it full time, maybe about 2 or 3 days would put up that whole structure. And also it was built from scavenged materials and what the existing building materials are, which is fronds. So that's why we got what we got. It isn't a real, just like this hut here, it's not a real hut for living in, although it does serve as a nice base. And the reason it's stronger and stable is because I used the deck, and you just, you know, flip the deck upside down or sideways here and used them as walls. Somebody did all the work. All I did was scavenge it. It was already here. I just rearranged it. And that's how everything here got built. It wasn't me going out and buying stuff. It was me just driving around and seeing stuff and saying, hey, I bet you I could use that at the yurt. And I would say about 80% of the materials you see here were not brought in. They were already here at the compound, including this, the outhouse. For those of you who haven't seen the episode, there's an episode where I found this outhouse just laying there sideways on the road to come into Camp Freedom 2, and I decided to salvage it. Originally, I was going to take the pieces and rip them off and use them as walls for the hut here. But then when I saw that it was mostly intact and still functional, I decided the hut could use a bathroom, a real bathroom. And that's how that ended up here. The whole unit was pushed here by a little blue 2 here. So if you haven't seen that episode, it's called A Crappy Idea. And it shows how I found the portalet and brought it all the way over here.